Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. This is a special Arnold Classic preview. You know, Arnold's still a good 9 weeks away or so, but we're going to go over the competitors in the various divisions today. Joining me is the one and only Giles Tiger Thomas. Giles, thank you so much for being here. Now, before we get started, I want to try to figure out the differences between your accent and Rosie's accent. So, what part of England are you from?
I'm actually Welsh. I'm not Flex.
Welsh. Because you know, Flex has a much thicker brogue type of accent than you. Why is that?
Well, where I'm from, it's like 2 miles inside Wales, and it's basically like a border town, and all the signs are in Welsh and English. But it's really like you could go 4 miles into Wales, and everyone sounds like Flex Lewis, and then you come into my town, and they sound like me. People always say I've got a nondescript accent because I moved away from Wales 18 years ago, then I moved to London, and then I moved to Newcastle right up in the north for 14 years, and I've kind of moved slightly further south. I'm still fairly north, but I live in Yorkshire now, so I've got a bit of a weird... People think, I mean, Rosie thinks I sound posh, but...
Well, yeah, you sound like James Bond, which is, you know, very cultured accent, very proper.
Well, as you know from that night we had at the Arnold Classic party, I am MI6, so...
That's right. So now, her accent is very deep and muddled. Where is that from?
It's kind of like a Lancashire accent. It's kind of. Have you ever heard of the Lake District?
No.
It's a really picturesque. Well, as you can imagine, it's a district full of lakes. It's
Minnesota.
She's kind of northwest. She sounds quite. But she's lived in Leeds, kind of, which is northeast, for about 10, 12, 13 years now in this area. So she sounds kind of northern Yorkshire, and I kind of sound southern. So northern southerner.
So here's my Rosie impression. You ready? Regarding my supplement range, I started noticing a pattern of what things that people seem to be struggling with. How's that? Is that good?
She's from Yorkshire, not Jamaica.
Well, it's kind of same, isn't it? Like when Jose imitates Flex Lewis, it kind of sounds like a Jamaican pirate.
Well, I was with Jose at the Arnold Classic party one year, and we were talking about Flex Lewis, and he was saying, I said, you know what, one thing I don't like about Flex? I said, he never lost his Welsh accent. I said, I've seen people, you know, funny if we're with a pro bodybuilder at the Arnold Europe, and as soon as the American body was around, he put on this weird American accent, and then he turned to us and kind of talked back in his English accent, which was very weird. And there's Flex. He's been in America for all those years. Anyway, so Jose starts. I'm with Jose. Yeah. And he's had a couple of drinks. You know what he's like when he has a couple of drinks.
Oh yeah.
And he starts doing this impression of, and he says, I think he sounds like a pirate.
Yeah.
He starts doing this impression of Flex Lewis, and all of a sudden he gets a tap on the shoulder, turns around, and Flex was stood there the whole time. Flex went, that's a pretty good impression, Jose, actually. That was pretty good.
Here's my Flex Lewis. I left no stone unturned. No stone unturned. That was his DVD. So, a few years ago. All right. Enough about all that. We got to talk about the Arnold Classics. You know, this is it. We have to. It's the big show, first big show of the year. It was my first trial by fire, so I'm anxious to get back to it for the second time as online editor, and hopefully I'll have my shit together a little better this time and not be so overwhelmed. But
we did the Olympia with no press passes, mate, and you and me used to cover the Arnold Classic Amateur, and I think if you can do that, you can do anything. That's
true. So, you know, I thought we'd do the right thing and start right out with open men instead of making everybody wait till the very end for that. And then we have 7 other divisions to get to, but the big show is always the open men. Wow, this is an incredible lineup. The only 2 big names missing from this really are Phil Heath and Big Ramy. You got pretty much all the top Olympia guys in here. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to read through it. It's a short list. We got Lionel Bayeki, William Bonac, Max Charles, Jonathan De La Rosa, Dexter Jackson, Steve Kuklo coming back, Cedric McMillan, Paul Palukzik, Sean Roden, Luis Rodriguez, Fred Smalls, Rolly Winkler, Dennis Wolf, Hidetari Yamagishi. Wow. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited. I really am. So we'll start alphabetically, yeah?
Yes.
Frenchman by way of Cameroon, Lionel Bayeki. So this is a guy that everyone says if this guy ever really shows up front to back, top to bottom, just shredded and peeled, look out, everybody. So, yeah, I mean, what are the odds? Let's hope. Have you seen any recent pictures of him? Seen him at prep at all?
I don't. He's one of these guys. He kind of seems to hide himself away, which does him no favors. And obviously, last year that was such a disastrous year for him. For someone that is literally, he's known as Mr. Hit and Miss. And I mean, if he doesn't really turn up in decent condition for this one, I think people are just going to write him off, and quite fairly so, because there's a guy that can literally battle it out with any of those top guys. I mean, he's top 6, top 10 Olympia all day long. Yeah. And if he doesn't turn up in condition, I think he really needs to think about what he's doing, how he's doing it, how he needs to promote himself. Because last year at the Olympia, he was kind of. I remember we did the Ronline, and we kind of completely forgot to mention him. It was like, what was that French guy called? I said, oh yeah, that's right, the Yeki. So he's got to turn up in condition. Surely he must be like really. He must have lit a fire under his ass when he did the Olympia last year, because he just did the Olympia and like nothing else, and it was a really disastrous year for him. And he's too good to be forgotten about or not mentioned. I mean. But it's just like it, and it purely comes down to condition. He's got everything. He doesn't really miss anything. I really want to see the guy back up there. I mean, even if he doesn't make top 6, there's no shame in this show. But if he comes in 7th, 8th, and he really hits his condition, he's going to be kind of back up there. I mean, he's picking a high profile show. Right.
William Bonac. Wow. So this guy, he's got to be, along with Dexter, he's got to be the favorite to win this thing. I mean, he beat Dexter at the Olympia. 3rd place in the Olympia. Arguably, some people had him 2nd. I think, a few of his diehard fans had him 1st. But, you've seen him compete several times. I've seen him a few times, and he could very easily. It seems like he's been very, very consistent with his condition and fullness and everything lately. So Dexter's going to have a hard time with this guy.
Bonac. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I think it's his to lose. I honestly think that. With Bonac, it's funny because people, I said this on the last Ronline, people still don't give this guy credit. They're still saying, oh, he'd be lucky to make top 6. He's too short, too narrow. Well, they said the same about Phil Heath. Phil Heath was too narrow. Phil Heath was too short. It's like, I don't know what this guy needs to do to really get people's respect, because I think he deserves more respect. Because the thing with Bonac is, he's like you said, he's very consistent. Neil Hill would never bring him in off to a show. It just wouldn't happen. He's never blown out his waist. He's kept his detail as he's managed to get bigger, which I thought possibly, when he came out of the 212s, I just thought this guy's really gonna, if he can just keep that detail, which the only other bodybuilder that kind of thickness that's done that is Phil Heath. As he's managed to put the size on, he's still managed to keep that detail. So Bonac, I think he's got to go with. For me, it's his show to lose. I honestly think that. I think it's. I'll tell you who I think it's between. Who I think it's going to be between in a minute. But we'll go through the names first.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about what's this guy got to do to get respect. This is a really good field. Like I said, we're just missing Heath and Rami. I mean, if he beats, all these guys, which he very well could, especially Dexter, the 5-time Arnold champ, Cedric, the defending champ. If he wins this show, I think people are going to have to give him his due, because this is one of the 2 big shows, and once you win this, you're on the map, and people can't deny your potential anymore. Max Charles, Max is very good. He was in the top 5 at the Arnold I keep saying this year, we're already in 2018. Last year. Yeah, he was 3rd. I mean, and he looked really, really good. As he brought some incredible conditions. Legs are coming up. They're still not, to me, he's got such crazy big round shoulders and arms, chest. It takes freaky legs to match all that. If he didn't have such freakiness in the upper body, I don't think anybody would ever be talking about his legs the way we have for the last few years. But like you said, 3rd place last year, so he's somebody you can't turn your back on or take your eyes off, I should say.
Right. Well, things with Max, we saw him at the first time I actually saw him in the flesh was at Tampa last year when you and I were at that, and he's actually more impressive in the flesh. I know it wasn't like you had guys like Josh there. It was a good lineup, but it wasn't like an A-class lineup. Yeah. And for me, he really stood out. I like his muscularity. I like his physique. I like his small joints. I thought his legs are good. I think his legs are good. I mean, to be honest, I think I had it as a flip of a coin between him and Josh was absolutely monstrous at Tampa. So Max, I think he's one of these guys. I've seen some pictures actually. He's in pretty good condition already. already.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever really seen him off. He's one of the guys. I don't think he's going to be knocking on top 6 this year because it's just purely because the field is that strong.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, he'll be sort of 6th through 10th, which is in this kind of show is a good achievement, you know.
Yeah. Jonathan De La Rosa, who he came that close to winning New York Pro, but unfortunately Sergio Oliva Jr. just edged him out. And then I saw the same thing happen to him a week later in Toronto. It was a rough couple weekends for John. I feel for the guy because he looked phenomenal, but he just got narrowly edged out 2 weekends in a row. And I know I follow him on Instagram and all that, and he's been training very hard, looking improved. I mean, I don't know how much more muscle the guy can pack on that frame, but what do you think of Jonathan's physique overall? I know you've seen him a few times.
John is actually one of my favorite pro bodybuilders. I think he's quite possibly one of the most underrated bodybuilders out there. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's had some good places, like you said. He's had second places at the New York Pro, Toronto, and he has won a couple of shows. But for me, he's got that kind of. It's kind of reminds me of like that kind of Justin Compton, where it looks so freakishly big.
Yeah.
It's just he's one of those guys. It's like he's kind of too big for 212, but kind of not big enough for an open. But I love his proportions. I love his tiny little waist. I like his. But for me, I still think he could come in better condition. I have seen some shots actually because he's on my Instagram, and I've seen some shots recently. Yeah. And I think it was one of the I saw the background. I think it was one of the Europa shows, and a couple of times he's really nailed it.
Yeah.
Now, John De La Rosa is one of those guys that is kind of second tier pro. But I think he's got the goods, and I think if he gets a really good look, he's the sort of guy that if one of these guys, the top 6 guys comes in off, I think he could sneak ahead of them.
Yeah.
I really rate him. Like I said, I think him and I used to think Fouad Abiad was a very underrated pro as well. But yeah. I just really, really like De La Rosa's physique. I like his proportions, and I think he's another one I could really keep an eye on for this top 6 to 8.
Yeah, I mean, I've said his front double bicep shot. The mass, the shape, the proportions, it's definitely one of the very top ones in the entire sport. So
Absolutely.
I know it's only one pose, but it's a very important pose. So
first one.
Dexter Jackson, 5-time Arnold champion. Can't believe this guy's still competing. He's an old bastard like me. He's 48, all-time record, and he's still, this might be his last year, might not. I'm sure he doesn't even know, but, when you talk about being someone's show to win or lose, certainly Dexter.
Yeah,
I think more people would be surprised if he didn't win than if he did win. Obviously Bonak's going to give him some serious competition. Cedric, a few other guys, but Dexter has just got such a total package. That's why he's the all-time winningest pro bodybuilder. He's tough to beat when he's at his best, and he usually is at or near his very best. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I mean, he's so consistent. I think people you take it for granted that he's going to look great because you see him look great show after show after show, and you're like, Dexter, just because we've seen him look awesome for years and years and years. It's kind of where we're kind of accustomed to it. Do you still have the wow factor when you see Dexter?
Absolutely, 100%. Like you said, we do take it. I think sometimes maybe a lot of fans maybe do take him for granted.
Yeah.
But I mean, in fact, I think the only time I've ever seen him looking anything other than 100% was when he won the Arnold in 2013. And he had like a bit of distension. And I think George Farrar said he carved him up on hamburgers. He told me in the lift. And I was like, well, why did you do that? And he went, well, he was flat. And I was like, because he had a bit of distension. But that was kind of like it was a bit of a poor year that year. But I mean, he still won it, and you had Mikulski in second. But it's like Dexter, I don't know what to say about it really because he is so good. It's like, what more is there to say about someone that's been so consistently good? The first Arnold Classic, the first pro show he ever did was the 1999 Arnold Classic.
Right. And
I remember I was working for a British newspaper, British magazine, bodybuilding magazine, back in '99. I was working for Metrics. And they brought the guys that went over, they brought back, and they had these little prints from, the photography shop, they had these little, with 35mm.
Right.
And I remember looking at the pictures, and there was Nasser, Levrone, and I pointed at this guy, and I said, who's that? I said, look at that guy. I said, he's small, because he was stood next to Nasser. I said, but look at his proportions. I said, what a beautiful physique. And that guy is just, like I said, I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again with Dexter, but I mean, at the Arnold, at the Olympia, when he first came out, I thought, shit, it is close between him and Phil, and then they kind of moved him down. But I mean, he's someone who's very easy to predict how he's going to do, because he's so predictable in the fact that he's so consistent.
Yeah.
So I think it's between him and Bonnet. I've got a feeling. I've got a really, like, as soon as I looked at the competitor list, I think it's going to be between Dexter and Bonnet. He's and like I said, there's no signs of him slipping. I mean, he's a couple of years ago after he won that Olympia, he had a couple of years where it's like, yeah, he's going to slip now, and then he kind of came back better than ever. Right. So phenomenal.
Now, Steve Kuklo, I'm trying to think of when he competed last. I should have looked it up, but it's been a good, at least 2 years he's been away, I want to say. And, you know, I've seen plenty of pictures of him. I've seen him at expos and stuff. He certainly looks, you know, big and ready to do this. But this is another X factor. What's he going to look like? You know, he's one of those guys that at a show with this kind of lineup, it's going to be tough. He's going to have to be better than ever to have a chance to really crack into the top 5, top 3 with this group of guys. But, you know, what do you think? What do you think about Steve? Do you think this time off could have done him good?
Well, I thought he was done. I actually thought he was done competing because then I saw him at the Olympia with you at the expo when me and Steve were going around the expo. Yeah. And he was on one of the trade stands and the people were taking photos. And I thought, oh, Steve's looking big again, because he kind of really downsized, didn't he? And I heard he was concentrating on business and family, and I just thought, oh, well, obviously, because I think he got 13th or something at the Olympia, when I think people were like touting him as like the next Jay Cutler, and he's had like I said, he's another Biecki. He's very hit and miss. And the thing is, if he's had 2 years off, he's either got massive balls to try and do the Arnold and make an impact, or maybe he's not bothered and just wants to get back into a high-profile show rather than come top 3 at, say, a small show, which I guess is smart. But there's one other competitor we'll talk about in a minute who's obviously coming back. But as I said, it is a bit of it's quite a talking point, because how's he going to look? I mean, is he going to look better for the rest, or is he just going to look like he needs another 6 months training? Yeah,
because I mean, this lineup is no joke.
No.
Next guy is our defending champion, Cedric McMillan. Cedric is another guy you just never know what you're going to get. I mean, the last show of the year that he won, he looked better than when he won the Arnold at the start of the season. I mean, and at the Olympia, he didn't look that good at all. It's just, you never know what you're going to get with this guy. When he's on, wow, what an incredible physique on this guy. But I don't know. Is he going to peak for this? Is he going to peak for something later in the season? You just never know with Cedric.
Well, the thing with Cedric is, like you said on the last Ronline we did, he's been dieting, how long now? Since the start of last year?
Yeah.
Like he did the Arnold Classic, he did the Olympia, and he did the Ferrigno, and then he did the San Marino, which he won against Hadi with a very good lineup, beat Brandon Curry, who beat him at the Lou Ferrigno.
Right.
Now, we obviously a few weeks ago, me and Rosie were at the San Marino, and he was on our flight coming back. So we had about sort of 30, 40 minutes to talk to him in the departure lounge before we came back. And I said, so what did you do? I said, because the thing with you, Cedric, I said, it's the telltale area with you is your glutes and your hams and your calves, lower back. I said, and I says, I've actually did some footage of, so I put in the MD forum, of, I zoomed right in on when he was doing his posing routine. Yeah. And everything was like, it was just perfect. It was sharp. And I just thought, well, yeah, he's probably going to win this.
Yeah.
Now, I said to him, what did you do then? He says, well, I prepped myself. He said, I prepped myself. He said, do you know what I did? He said, I went back right from when he was turning pro.
Yeah.
And he referred back to his old journals and went right back over them.
Wow.
Yeah, he said he said he just basically took it back to. He says he went back to basics. He prepped himself. I think he had somebody look at him that could tell him, and he said he just knew. And he said, and that's so that's a good sign. So hopefully he won't have another what happened at the Olympia.
Right.
Because, like he said, he was feeling great, and it kind of just one of those things where it just all went horribly wrong for him. But I mean, San Marino, he looked really good, mate. I mean, he beat Brandon Curry, Issa, Hadi, who was just phenomenal, and it's. Maybe he's on a bit of a roll now, and it's like I said, plus he's the defending champ. But having said that, yeah,
he's not going to have any, even at his best, he's still going to have a tough time with this group of guys. But
I would personally just love to see him move past one of the guys that we assume or just automatically think is going to beat him.
Right.
That's what I would like to see. I don't think he's maybe got the absolute knockout punch to win this or defend his title, but I do believe he's got the opportunity and the momentum that and confidence going in to pull ahead of, say, Roden or Wolf or even Rowley and guys like that who all beat him at the Olympia.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would hate to. I don't want to downplay the San Marino show. It would make it seem like a very small show, but compared to the Olympia, I saw your footage and your commentary, everything about San Marino. Like, well, why didn't he look like that at the Olympia? It would have been such a different show for him, obviously. And I hope the same thing. I hope he looks like San Marino for this, instead of saying, "Oh, it's too bad he didn't look like he did at San Marino." I don't want to be saying that. I know you don't want to be saying that.
But also, plus, I don't want to see him burnt out. I want to see like it's momentum rather than, oh my God, my body's just giving up now. So I hope he doesn't, because if his body's given up and it's tired and he is worn out and his body's kind of shut down, he's going to look worse than he did at the Olympia. So I'm just hoping this is all going to build, and then I just hope he's just got enough left in the tank to really pull off a showing even better than San Marino.
Well, I mean, San Marino was November, so he did not have a lot of time to rest and recover before. And same thing with Hadi. They both had to jump right back into prep for this. This is a rough sport, very rough. Paul Pollexel, I'm sorry, I don't know who he is. Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, he's a German guy. He won the amateur Arnold last year. I think he won the Arnold Europe, and I've seen him. He's won like the supers at the Arnold I think he came third one of the years that you and me covered it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good. He's nice physique, but he's not going to be making a dent here. No way.
Sean Roden, who has been a couple of years ago was second place at the Olympia, slipped a little bit this past time, but then redeemed himself Saturday night, came back much sharper. Arguably, he's somebody that potentially could win this too. I know if we're looking at names of people that could win this, you got to look at Bonac, you got to look at Dexter, Cedric, and certainly Sean Roden has to be somebody you could potentially win this show. He's got all the goods.
I don't know.
No? Okay. That's why there's two of us here.
Yeah. I honestly think he's starting to slip now. I think we've seen the best of Sean Roden. I saw a picture today, and because I was on a podcast a few weeks ago, and they were saying that Sean for the Olympia was starting from scratch with his prep, as in trying to build muscle and lose body fat, and I think he just didn't have enough time, basic off-season training, because I've heard where he goes quite small in the off-season, like a kind of Kevin Levrone, where he almost stops training. I don't know whether he stops training or just downsizes or whatever. And then they were saying, one of the guys on there was saying, he says, I've seen some videos of him recently. He said he's putting videos of him doing heavy free weight movements, because for the Olympia it was all machines and it's like he at the Olympia and the Arnold Europe, he kind of it was his chest. I noticed it looked like his chest had just completely. It's like I maybe thought, he's had a shoulder injury and he's lost that thickness and fullness, which gives him that pop when he does like his front double bicep.
Right.
But I think the thing with Sean is, and I've seen a picture and I just think, well, one, I would expect to see him a little bit sharper at this point. And he hasn't, for me, in just that one picture I've seen, like I said, I'm only going on one picture, he doesn't seem to have had the fullness back. So, I mean, obviously it's 9 weeks or whatever, 8-9 weeks, there's still a lot could happen. But personally, and do you know what I don't want to see? I don't want to see him get a gift again, because he didn't, I'm sorry, but he didn't deserve fifth at Olympia. He should have, Nathan Dasher should have beat him. And I think he got a gift at the Arnold Europe as well. I would have had him probably at least 2 spots lower there. But like I said, there's a lot that could happen in the next 2 months. I am a Sean Roden fan. I think personally, I think in the last few years, I think he actually was the only one that actually had the potential to beat Phil Heath. But he never brought that knockout punch. He never brought that extra few percent of fullness and conditioning. He kind of just came back the same, and never really kind of reinvented himself. It looks to me like he's on the downward spiral of his career. But like I said, he could do a Dexter and pull it out the bag, and he could potentially win this. But from my gut feeling right now is that we're not going to see that, but I would like to see it. So.
Next guy, yeah, that's fair, very fair. So Luis Rodriguez, I really didn't know who he was last year until I got to New York Pro, and they started putting him in the first call-outs, and he ended up in third place.
Yeah.
New guy, I think that was only the first, he'd only competed a couple times as a pro, but tremendous shape on this guy, pretty good mass. I don't know if he has the mass necessarily to hang with some of these bigger guys like, we got Wolf up there, we got Cedric, we got some Max Charles. We got some guys that are probably 250, 260, 270 up there. Not sure what he weighs, but he's one of those guys, gets by more on shape. Incredible arms, little tiny waist. We'll see what happens. Are you familiar with Luis at all?
Yeah, I've only seen a couple of pictures from the New York Pro, and he looked good. He looked really good, and I like seeing new faces making an impact at kind of shows like the New York Pro, big shows like that. Yeah. And all I've got in my head is that front double bicep, which was quite a nice flare. He had a nice flare to his lats. I think it's great. I think it's great that you've got guys like them giving an opportunity to new guys like this to show their face at the Arnold Classic, because you never know. He might do a what's the 212 guy called? Oh, I forgot his name. The really good new guy. What's his name? The guy.
Derek Lunsford.
Yeah, Derek Lunsford. He do a Derek Lunsford and put on 20 pounds and beat a few guys.
He could, because somebody posted a picture of him from like North Americans a couple of years ago, and I didn't even think it was the same guy. I said, "You guys have made a mistake here. That's not him. That's a different. It's a common Spanish name. It's not him." But I guess it was him. So he's still in that part of his career where he's improving a lot. Next guy, Fred Smalls. I just want to go on record here because a couple of years ago, someone said to me, someone who knew Fred said, Fred says he heard you don't like him. And I said, what? Why would I not like him? So Fred, if you're listening, I like you. I have nothing against you. I don't know where that rumor came from. Maybe I gave you a critique in a contest coverage or something when you were... Because he's got a tremendous physique, but his conditioning was a real issue. It's something he's definitely improved on a lot. He brings much, much better condition now than he did a few years ago. And posing, he's a tremendous poser. He's one of the best posers in the game. I don't know how he's going to do in this particular lineup, but he's worthy of being up there. He's got the mass, the shape, the presentation. Are you a Fred Smalls fan, Charles?
Yeah, I saw him at the Arnold Europe in Barcelona, and me and Rosie were doing the play-by-play, and he's got a nice physique, he's got lovely symmetry. He's got to watch the stomach though, because I could see, he's one of those guys, he's quite short and stocky, and those guys can't allow themselves to have that kind of distension. But I like his physique. I think he's great. I thought his posing was good. Rosie absolutely loved it, because I personally like comparing Kai Green's dancey posing to his old school kind of aesthetic posing. I prefer that style than the dancing stuff. Right. But Rosie, she was whooping and hollering, and
well, she does the dance. She does the dancing stuff.
She loved it.
She's a dancer. Of course, she's gonna like that stuff.
And the crowd absolutely loved him. So obviously he brings an entertainment factor, and he's a good physique. I mean, he's a solid physique. He certainly deserves to be there. Yeah.
Rory Winkler. I would love to see Rolly win the show, just because he's come so close to winning one of the bigger. He's won smaller Arnold class. He's won, some of the smaller shows, but he's never. These are the big shows, the Arnold, the Olympia, that everybody wants to win. Do you think Rolly could potentially win this thing?
Win it.
Yeah, win.
Do you know? I think Rolly's underrated. For me, like, people talk about Ramy as this humongous and he is big. Yeah. But in terms of actual freaky muscle bellies and actual, like, if you talk about real freakish muscle, you cannot go further than Rolly. Rolly's just. I mean, Ramy's big and lumpy, but there's the tie-ins in Rolly. It's like everything. There's just detail. And I think he gets a raw deal. I really do. I mean, I was really happy when he won Prague, and he pulled ahead of. Is it Dexter he beat at Prague? Yeah, I'm sure he beat Dexter. Yeah, I mean that's. And he it's, and people going about his condition. I think his conditioning's good. I think he lacks a bit of separation in his legs sometimes. That's
the thing that gets me on him. I wish he had some better quad separation. I look at his quads like, he's got so much mass. And when he hit that crowd most muscular at the Olympia, that got more crowd reaction than I think any other moment in the entire weekend. Because that was just that's the freakiest shot I've ever seen in bodybuilding. It's just a giant ball of muscle. It's like you said. I mean, everything. His muscle bellies are so long. obviously the bis and tris go all the way to the joint. Even his forearms like go all the way to the wrist. It's just, wow.
I got a picture because we were in the Arnold Europe hotel. Obviously, the pros were sat with Michael Lockett and what's the other guy called? Anyway, and Rowley was kind of sat just ahead because he came over and said hello, and he went, "Hey Giles, robbed again." And I said, "Well, tighten up for next week." I said, "Keep the stomach flat." I said, "And see if you tighten up." I said, "Maybe you could win next week in Prague," and he did. He won in Prague, And I've got a picture where he's just kind of leaning back with his friend, and he's just sat there with his arm. And it's fucking
I know.
I mean, I love Rowley, and I do you know what it is? I don't want to see Roden beat him because I think Roden beat him at the Arnold Europe and the Olympia, and I really want to see that kind of, because people really determine the Olympia, the rankings of the pros from how they place at the Olympia and the Arnold. Right. Like if so-and-so beats so-and-so at the Arnold, that means he's better than him overall, not just that day.
Right.
So I really want to see. I could see Rowley top 3 absolutely.
Yeah.
I love Rowley. Like I said, I used to go over to Rotterdam for MD a few years ago, and I'd spent a lot of time with Rowley and hung out with him, and right back from when he was an amateur in 2009, and obviously I got a lot of personal connection to the guy. I love the guy. I just think he doesn't stop, and he's just took his physique. I mean, especially like a few years ago when he first went to Kuwait, I thought his physique was kind of ruined for me because he put I think he put 30 pounds on.
Yeah.
And I remember he won the Finland show, and I was like, oh no, what have they done to him? Yeah. He lost separate. It was just like a big lump. And then 2018 now. In 2016, me and Ronnie, I had to take Ronnie to the pro show. We went down. We were escorted down the front, and Rowley came out, and because one of the guys from Holland said, "Look, Giles," he says, "you need to know." He says, "Rowley has taken his physique to the next level." And I was like, "Well," I said, "he can't really fit any more size on that frame." And he says, "No, I'm telling you." He said, "He's managed to do it." He says, "You just watch." So Rowley came out, and he's like, everything had kind of supersized again, and then his waist was like just disappeared. So the main thing with Rowley is if he keeps that waist flat, which he did for Prague, but he didn't have it at the Arnold Europe, and that was only a week difference. So it is to do with his carbing up and whatever he seems to do. Yeah. As long as he brings that, and he's got a nice separation in his thighs, he's tough to beat, and let's face it.
I've been looking at Dennis Wolf's Instagram page because that's what we got to talk about. This is the most anticipated comeback because he had the type of injury that, not like a simple muscle tear. He had like a serious neck injury that, with nerves and everything involved, where a lot of people never ever come back from that. So I'm looking at his Instagram to see if there's anything current where he's showing the physique. Not really. He's covered up. He's all covered up. You can see he's put most of his size back on, but yeah. I don't know what he looks like. I can't say. I wish I did, but I mean. He won this a few years ago. He's certainly capable. It wasn't quite as strong a lineup when he won it, but, he's got everything. He's got the wide clavicles, the little waist, the flaring quads, size, shape, condition. I think he could give all these guys a run for the money if he's as good as he's ever been. But will he be?
With Dennis, I interviewed him in Barcelona. And I think he said he was back up to 123 kilos. He'd only been back training properly, full on, for 9 weeks. And he said the problem was, he was actually too lean at that point. And he says he wanted to put more size on because he said he didn't want to come, because he competes around 123 kilo, 120 kilo. And he said he wants to come down from, say, like 300 pounds. He said, because that's how he feels better. He said, but the things with Dennis, this break might have done him good. He might be like this. Everyone's speculating, but he's staying covered up. Is this a good sign or is this a bad sign?
Right. Is
his body responding? Has he committed to the show? And is he just kind of hoping for the best? And it's either is happening or isn't happening. This is the biggest question mark. But you know what? I hope does not happen is if he comes back and he's 70-80%. I hope people don't write him off because. What he's been through, I mean, he told me in detail in the interview and afterwards as well. He went through like a really, really serious injury there. Like you said, that would put most people, stop them training, let alone come back to the show. And I hope it's not been. I mean, he looked healthy, he looked kind of, agile and stuff, and he was being quite honest, and he looked big. But I just don't know. It's like he could come in and I think that things with his neck and everything's connected. He might have atrophy in certain areas, which he was starting to get in his certain areas of his physique a few years ago. But I think he did need to take a break, and maybe this will either give him like a fresh, take on his body, or it's going to mean, he was kind of peaking a few years ago and he is now done. But even if he comes like 5th or 6th or even lower, I think just give the guy another few months, and then, like I said, when the dust settles, we need to really see how this injury has actually, whether he's being fully honest and it has really affected him or it hasn't affected him, because maybe he's just, saying, yeah, everything's great, and really it's actually really impeded his training. So that's the one I think everyone's going to be most looking forward to seeing, and I would love to see him come back and win it. I mean, because he could beat Dexter, he could beat Bonac, he could beat all of them. He hasn't competed since, like, guys. I don't think he's really competed against Bonac, because Bonac was kind of lower down.
I think he was still in the 212s, or maybe just starting his foray into the Open when Dennis was, the last time Dennis competed.
But how old's Dennis? He's still not old, is he? He's not like...
It's only like 35, 36.
So he's not like... you've got like guys like Dexter who are like nearly 50, and you've got Roden in their 40s, and Cedric's probably over 40. Dennis is actually still quite young. Yeah. So that goes in his favour as well. So I just don't know. It's... I'd hate to see him come in, like that time when he didn't make top 15 at Olympia. Was it 2007, I think it was? 2008 he came and he looked completely washed out. Yeah. I just hope... I think he'll be in condition. I think we might see him slightly smaller, though. I just hope that people... sometimes the fans can be like, they can write someone off.
Absolutely.
And I just think, I just think just give the guy a chance. If he doesn't bring his best... Don't write the guy off. Just give him a chance, because it might take a bit longer than he even realized himself to come back from this. Right.
Last guy in the Open to talk about is the return to the Open division after a few years as a 212 of Hidetada Yamagishi. My man, Hide. I'm psyched to see him come back. I like him much better with just those few extra pounds in the Open. I don't know how he's going to do it. This is a tough field. But he's going to look better, I predict, than he has the past couple of years as a 212. Just that extra bit of fullness gives him better shape, that roundness that he needs. We'll see how he looks.
Okay. With Hide, I messaged, because I know he's working with Milos now, but he was working with Patrick for a couple of years, and I messaged Patrick a few hours ago, and I said, Patrick, was it hard to get him down to 212? And he said, well, when his glutes are ripped, he sits naturally around 212. He said, so it wasn't really that much of a struggle. I think he was about 215, even up to a few weeks ago. But, he won the Arnold 212 a couple of years ago, and he went to the Olympia and he didn't make top 6, and then he didn't make top 5, and then he went to the Arnold the year after as a 212, didn't make top 5, looked pretty bad. And I think he just needed to take some time off. And I think, with thing with Milos, he likes to bring them in full and big. Yeah. And like you said, maybe I think it takes real balls to go into an Open show, especially one of this caliber, because most guys go from 212 and move up to the Open. He's got it the other way around. Yeah. It was an Open, then a 212, and now he's come back. So, like I said, whatever his best body, his best look at is at, it probably is above 212. Yeah. So I'm just excited just to see him looking at his best, because, like you said, like Flex Lewis at 225 is a much more impressive Flex Lewis than he is at 212. Oh, yeah. But he's not done an Open show, so we've never actually got to see the best version of him. And it's the same with Hide. But if he comes in at his best, then I don't really care where he places. I think he'll get respect for coming back and at least showing his, because he was starting to fade, wasn't he? Yeah,
I reminded people in my interview with Hide a week or two ago that he did get top 10 in the Mr. Olympia, the Open Olympia, 3 years in a row. Yeah. So it's not like he's a slouch as an Open. And that was at, between 215 220, he says. He was never any heavier than that on stage. Let's talk about the 212. We only have 7 guys? Seven guys. Wow. It's a small field, but look at this list. Hadi Chupan, Guy Cisternino, Charles Dixon, David Henry, Kyun Won Kang, Jose Raymond, Samir Trudy. So we got some heavy hitters in here. You just saw Hadi, so Can any of these guys, and we both love Jose. Jose's our boy, but can any of these guys beat Hardy?
No.
Yeah, okay, let's be real.
No, they're not. They're not. I'm telling you. The only thing that was, in fact, I think the thing that makes this whole thing exciting is he even going to get on the plane?
I know.
What is going on with his visa? I mean, his problem with the visa was like it stopped him getting to the Olympia. Is he? I don't understand. We haven't had any official statement of what's actually happening because if he can do the Arnold, then surely he can do the Olympia, which means a very exciting Olympia next year.
Right.
But I've spoken about Hadi like several times now on Ronline. I can't even put it into words how impressive this guy is.
Right.
And he is, honestly, wait till you guys see him. If he gets there and he gets on stage, the whole place is going to blow up when they see him, I tell you. He is phenomenal. I mean, I was watching again, I was on my, the Tiger and Rascal show, I put like in top 10 highlights, I put number 8, the emergence of Hadi Choopan.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I've watched it over and over again, and it's like I just can't get over. Like he's just, I sound like a giddy schoolgirl when I talk about him because he's just so freaky. He's just amazing.
I don't know who's helping him with his visa, or somebody's. I don't know who's in charge of, if anyone on the Arnold committee can help, because it's definitely to their benefit to make sure this guy gets to Columbus and on that stage. It's going to be a much better show.
Maybe Arnold's pulled some strings. I don't know. Can he?
Dude, Arnold could probably make a phone call and get anybody, get the visa or whatever. He's Arnold. Maybe Arnold sneaked him in on his private jet or something. Yeah, but if he's not able to get in, I see it as coming down to Jose and David Henry. Yeah. Yeah, they're both excellent. Jose's won this before. David almost won it last year with Ashkenani. A lot of us kind of felt, me, Peter, and a lot of people felt he had the show, but in the end it was Ahmad. But they're two amazing guys. So we better hurry up and get to some other divisions here quickly. We've been talking a long time. So classic physique, huge field. And I didn't realize, 'cause I know I'm supposed to be a lot more well-informed than I am, but it's open for the men's physique and the classic physique and the women's physique, right? Or just those two divisions? I think it's just men's physique and women's physique certainly were 2 years ago. They were open classes. But classic I think, must be too, because look at it's a list of like 30 or 35 guys. It's a huge list of guys. You haven't actually sent me the classic, so I don't have to. I did. I thought I sent it to you. Anyway, so let me run down the big. It's a lot of names that unfortunately some of them I'm familiar with vaguely. I've seen them compete, but the big names here, we got defending Classic Olympia champ Breon Ansley. Obviously, it's his show to lose. Yep. Danny Hester, the first Olympia Classic champion, coming back. I know he had slipped, but he's back. Arash Rabar, who had been second place to Danny that year, he slipped a little bit, but he could come back too. Santi Aragon, who I've seen a few times, very good. Lee Banks, very good. Dion Harris, and I mean, there's a ton of other guys, and not to discount any of them, but these are the big names going in. Bumstead would have been a favorite, but he's taking some time off. That's smart. Very smart, very smart. But I don't know who's going to beat Breon, to be honest with you. The guy's he's amazing. Well, I mean, with Breon, like I said on the last run line, he had the best condition at the Olympia that I saw. Personally, with my own eyes, he had the best conditioning. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he stood out for me as much as it did for, say, you and Steve. But I think he's a good representative, and I think he's probably doing it because Bumstead isn't doing it. But maybe he's doing it because he knows that Bumstead was not going to do it. No, I can say that because I've been talking. I talk to him fairly regularly for articles and so forth, so I know he was planning on doing this long before we knew Bumstead wasn't. Just because he felt if the Arnold Classic was going to add a classic physique division this year, he definitely had to do it. If he's supposed to be the ambassador of classic physique to the world, he really needs to do this show instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm the Olympia champ. I'm going to wait till Olympia." He feels it's his responsibility to go out there and win this title too, and be the ambassador that he's supposed to be, which is commendable, I think. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, we spoke to him. You interviewed him at the Olympia, and he seems to have. I think he seems to sort of take on like a real responsibility because this classic class has absolutely exploded.
it's funny. I was talking on MD with someone, and he was saying that you didn't think that the classic was going to be a big class, and I said no, I didn't either. I didn't think it. I just didn't think it would grow as fast as it has, because there was huge excitement, and I think that takes real. Yeah, I've got respect for him for doing this, Arnold, because that's, plus he's going to prove that it wasn't a fluke, and it wasn't, and it was kind of, it really reaffirms him as the best classic guy in the world. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a good lineup, solid lineup, that.
Okay, so just going to run through some of the other divisions real quick. Wheelchair, it's a few guys, but Harold Kelly, who won it last year, I believe he's won every single pro wheelchair event that's ever been held, so I don't see him having major problems winning this one again. Fitness International, got some big names in there. Regiane de Silva coming back, Ariel Kader, Bethany Wagner, some other names, Whitney Jones, Christine Duba. Figure International has some big names, especially the reigning Olympia champion, Sydney Gillen, is coming to win. I don't know who's going to beat her at the Figure International. I mean, she's just, if an artist drew a rendition of what your perfect figure competitor would look like, that's pretty much, they would draw her. Heather Dees, excellent. Maria Luisa Baeza Diaz.
Is that the Puerto Rican girl?
Brazilian, but lives in the great state of Massachusetts, so extra,
okay, I think there was a girl at the Olympia I saw, she was from, I think she was Puerto Rican, or maybe her origin was, and I think that's the same name. That she really impressed me. I thought she should have placed a bit higher. If it's the same, I hope it's the same girl.
I believe she won when we were in Tampa. I believe she did. She won the Tampa show.
Oh, yeah. No, she's really good. She's amazing. She's beautiful looking physique. Beautiful.
Yeah. Remember her husband's a bodybuilder? They carried a little dog everywhere, no?
Yeah. No, she was really good. The thing is, obviously, I was really. You remember how excited I was about when Sydney Gillen won? We were sat in the show. I was like, "Yeah, I called it. She's, I mean, for me, but the figure for me, the female classes I like best are the figure and the physique. I can't really get excited about bikini. I can't really get. I like fitness. It's nice to watch, but I don't really follow it that much. I mean, you got Oksana, who's absolutely amazing, who's just. But the figure, that's Sydney Gillen. I mean, it's always very close between those three. I mean, I don't see how anyone can beat those three: Candice, Sydney Gillen, and Latoya. I just don't see how anyone, because they're too genetically blessed. It really is right. Okay, there's the top three. Let's choose everybody else. But
I don't even know how they differentiate between those three. They're all so similar and so amazing. When I saw that call out, I was like, I'm so glad I'm not a judge. Look at these three. Look at that. This is ridiculous.
The thing is, though, it's like these girls have got beautiful physiques, and they put a lot of hard work in, but it is a lot to do with that genetic shape. And if you, like Rosie's got a client, just turned pro, called Sam Falls, she's got that same sort of shape with the shoulders and then the back that goes like that. And I'm thinking, you can't really train for that. You've either got it or you don't have it. So, I think it'll probably be between Sydney and Candice, and then really sort of a fight for third, really. I mean... Yeah. Unless one of them really comes in off, when's the last time you ever see a real figure girl coming off? They don't.
Yeah, I have to say, because I've been to so many shows last year, pro and national, pro qualifiers, consistently the condition, and I was never a huge figure fan. I'm still not, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of figure. I appreciate what they do, but I don't get psyched about figure. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody. But condition-wise, they have the best consistent condition out of any division. You never see the top, whatever the top 10 is, there's nobody remotely out of shape. They put the bodybuilders to shame for the most part.
They've all got shoulders like watermelons.
Yes, big delts, quad sweep, little tiny waist, little perky butt, little upper back. Bikini International, wow, it's an amazing lineup because they have the defending Olympia champion Angelica Teixeira, second place the Olympia Jennifer Ronzetti, third place the Olympia Romina. What the heck's Basaldo? So that's top three. Fourth place is in there. So you got the top Casey Samuel, and you have the three-time Olympia bikini champion Ashley Kaltwasser making her comeback. So it'd be interesting to see if she ends up beating Angelica, because I know they both have very different looks, but they're both beautiful, well put together women. So good luck, judges. Last but not least, let's talk about the division that you have a little more familiarity with, being the life mate of one, is women's physique. So these are some names. I'll just read some. Shanique Grant, Kira Newman, Danny Reardon, Michaela Soto, Michaela Aycock, and the figure girl making made a great transition recently to women's physique. 22-year-old Natalia Coelho, but pretty stacked lineup. There was like 34 women. I just picked out like 6 names that stood out to me. Who really stands out in this group to you as being someone that's most likely going to be fighting for the win?
Shanique.
Yeah.
Shanique. I mean, she's like I said about the Sydney and Candice, and she's got that kind of crazy genetic shape. The thing is, I've not seen her on stage yet. Now, I've got concerns about Shanique because I know she hasn't done the 2 Olympics. She had the retina thing, and then she got attacked and
someone stabbed her in the arm.
Yeah. So, and she's like Natalia. She's very young. Now, my only concern is if she's that young and she's kind of been that good that quick, I hope she doesn't keep progressing too much, because I think as she is now, I think she's just perfect for women's physique. So I hope she hasn't like put too much size on and gone too big for physique. So I hope if she's smart, she'll keep the physique as it is and just work on, because I think she still needs a bit more arms. But I don't want her to get any bigger, but basically. But if she has, because I saw some shots, even her back was looking a bit almost bodybuilder-ish. So, but if she comes in with just a nice symmetrical, nice appealing look, then I can't see anybody beating her. But yeah, she's amazing. But I think, like you said, the names you called out, Kayla Aycock's very good. She gets very good condition. Rosie competed against her in Tampa. She's really good. Yeah. She'll probably be, she's going to be top 5. Natalia Coelho. I mean, there's people, saying she's a future Miss Olympia. I
think so. I believe she will be.
I'm just glad she moved up from figure, because I remember having a discussion with somebody on the MD forum, and they were saying that I said, no, she's too big for figure. She won like 2 or 3 figure shows, and I said, their quads are too big. I said, she needs to either lay off them. And they went, yeah, but if she's still winning, why should she? I said, yeah, but she'll go to the Olympia and get marked down, and they'll say, oh, your quads are too big. Right. So she switched to physique, and she's doing great. She's won pro shows. And she could push Shanique. She could absolutely push Shanique. But there's such a question mark over these girls that are that young, because they might just keep doing like a Derek Lunsford and keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right, and lose that symmetry and aesthetics which the women's physique calls for. So, and then also you've got Kira Newman, who's been second at the Olympia, second, fourth. I'm not sure where she placed last year. I think she was top 10. Yeah. But there's another beautiful example of women's physique. Beautiful aesthetics, just, ticks every box. So will be interesting to see her. Danny Reardon, I know she slipped last year, but she was second at the Olympia the year before in 2016. Yep. There's someone that I know she slipped, 7th, I think, last year. So there's someone that could potentially, beautiful shoulders and arms, nice muscularity, young as well. So that's going to be a really, really competitive top 5. I'm quite glad Rosie's not doing it now.
So Rosie's show is not that much later, right? How many weeks later is Rosie's show?
It's a week later in London.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously whoever doesn't win this one, or maybe does win it, might come to London. So Rosie's really got to bring her best look. So,
I mean, why wouldn't they all go to London? It's only a week later.
Yeah.
I mean, I would. You're already prepped. So, Rosie's got the hometown advantage. Yeah. Well, she's also got a great physique. So, okay, we've ripped through 8 divisions there somehow. 88% of it was on the open men, but, that's what most people really want to hear about. So, appreciate all your insights, as always, Giles. And don't you ever dress like a bum like me? You always got to have the, you got the collared shirt, the vest, everything, So dapper.
I've got to I've got to go to the gym, actually. I've got to eat some food and get to the gym, do some shoulders.
Okay. Well, I got to eat. I'm starving myself. So let's do that. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Giles Tiger Thomas, thank you so much for your opinions and insights and predictions. And I hope this has entertained you guys. Our predictions may come true. They may not. We'll find out in a few weeks. Thanks for watching.